Over the course of the past year, the Indiana rail experience has assuredly made a name for itself in the world of steam railroading in America. Unveiled in the spring of 2022, the operation involves a collaboration between the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society and shortline railroad Indiana Northeastern, and commemorates the vital roles that the railroads played in the small towns and lush farm country of Northeast Indiana, as well as a chance to show the public what the golden age of traveling by train had in store for the soul. After a successful first season in 2022, the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society wasted no time in organizing another well-rounded schedule of events for 2023. One of the most anticipated was the first ever Railroad Open House, which took place on the last weekend of July, on Saturday the 29th and Sunday the 30th. Serving as a celebration of Indiana's railroading past, as well as the impact of the Indiana Northeastern Railroad on the local communities, the open house drew in over 2,500 visitors, and 4 different steam locomotives were seen under steam, all in the same place at the same time. Come join us as we take a detailed look at this one-of-a-kind event. We're in Hudson, Indiana, at the Indiana Northeastern Railroad's maintenance facility. This would be the site of the Railroad Open House and center of activity for the weekend's excitement. Spirits are high and anticipation is heavy among train crews, families, and rail fans alike as the iron horses simmer away in front of the shops. The presence of so many locomotives for this occasion would not have been possible without the involvement and cooperation of 3 different organizations who dedicate their time and passion to maintain these fire-breathing symbols of America's industrial history. One of these is the Little River Railroad, a family-owned and operated railroad that has been a staple tourist attraction in the region since the 1970s. Based out of Coldwater, Michigan, the railroad features an eccentric collection of locomotives and rolling stock that give off the flavor of classic Midwest shortline railroading. 462 number 110 is the face of the operation and is the smallest Pacific-type steam locomotive ever built. Outshopped by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1911, number 110 was built for the original Little River Railroad, which was a logging operation in Tennessee. She also operated on the Smoky Mountain Railroad in the 1940s and 50s, before being purchased by Terry Bloom, founder of the current Little River Railroad in 1972, and in the years since has operated in both Michigan and Indiana. Although she may be small for a locomotive of her wheel arrangement, 110's charm and elegance is shown in full force as she speeds down the Indiana Northeastern's main. The Indiana Northeastern owns 130 miles of track in northeastern Indiana, northwestern Ohio, and southern Michigan. The open house excursions traveled out of Hudson to both the east and west, over a 20-mile span of track that was once the former Wabash Railroad's 4th District, which ran from Montpelier, Ohio, west to Chicago, Illinois. Let's follow along with number 110 as she departs Hudson headed for Hamilton, 10 miles to the east. Upon arrival in Hamilton, 110 uncouples from her train and will run around the consist before returning to Hudson. The Little River Railroad also rosters 040T number 1, a locomotive that has a mysterious past, but like number 110 is also riddled with great personality. She is believed to have been built by Vulcan in 1908, as studies show that the frame and wheels, as well as the boiler, were built at different points in time. The Little River acquired number 1 from the LaPorte County Railroad Historical Society in LaPorte, Indiana in 2000, restoring her to service in 2004. Number 1 operated on short excursions eastward to Steubenville, about 4 miles distant from Hudson. Back at Hudson, we see Jetto Coal Company 040T number 85 operating on the hands-on-the-throttle sessions, which gives the general public a chance to operate a live steam locomotive for themselves. Number 85 is one of 3 locomotives owned by the Grambling Locomotive Works of nearby Ashley, Indiana, that travel around the country and operate on various railroads for special events. Here we see her on the Northern Central Railway in Pennsylvania. One of the main points of interest was the public debut of Nickel Plate Road SD9 number 358, which was built by EMD in 1957 and was donated to Fort Wayne by Norfolk Southern in 2010. She has undergone a major rebuild by Progress Rail of Muncie, Indiana, and she'll be ready for action very soon. Of course, no event hosted by the Fort Wayne Group would be complete without a stellar performance by their superstar steam giant, Nickel Plate Road S2 Berkshire number 765. Built in 1944 as one of many of the Lima Locomotive Works Van Swearingen Berkshires, 765 was originally assigned to the Nickel Plates Yard at Bellevue, Ohio, serving alongside her sister berths on the railroad's fast freight trains. These locomotives were fixtures of Midwest railroads in the 1940s and 50s, and considered by many as one of the finest steam locomotives ever built. Retired in the late 50s and placed on display in a park in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society was formed in 1974 to begin restoring 765 to her former glory. The work was done over a 5-year period with a lack of optimal shop facilities and protection from the elements. Yet, on September 1st, 1979, 765 made her first moves under her own power, soon after becoming one of the most iconic and busiest mainline steam locomotives in the country, a distinction she still maintains today. During the open house, 765 would power excursions west out of Hudson to South Milford and return, with Indiana Northeastern GP9 number 1602 heading up the train for the westbound leg. South Milford is home to the South Milford Grain Company, which has supplied thousands of loads of corn, beans, wheat, and other crops each year for nearly a century. 765 puts on a thrilling show, leaving town beneath the massive grain silos. train begins to slow as it approaches Hudson. The Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society, as well as the Indiana Northeastern, Grambling Locomotive Works, and the Little River Railroad all did their part to create a fantastic railroading event that will not be forgotten. And we give them our sincerest thanks and gratitude for making this memorable celebration possible. On the evening of Saturday, July 29th, 765 powered a special members-only dinner train that ran eastbound towards Hamilton. As we end our coverage, we follow her along through the setting sun.